Hello, business family. And I love that music. I love that music. Happy New Year, business family. And I know that 2025 is behind us and 2026 is offering us all kinds of promise and opportunity. The real question is, are you ready? Or are you stuck looking behind your shoulder? I mean, there's so much for us to talk about, so much for us to unpack. So I really want to jump right into this and get started. My name is Jay Reynolds. I own Wolf Creek Consulting. We are a top ranked staffing company located in Fort Lauderdale and Coral Springs. You know that this is the business of Black business, and it is a show about you. Now, this show is designed to help Black entrepreneurs be in the room, right? Now, with that being said, let's get started. I want you to meet Shaheewa Gillen, who is my friend and a person that almost needs no introduction. At some point in time, you have met or been in the same room with Shaheewa. She's a well-known attorney and president of the and CEO of the Black Chamber of Commerce. Hello, Shaheewa. Welcome.
Hi, Jay. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today with you.
I am so I'm so psyched that you're here, right? Because you always have something good to say, right?
Absolutely.
So first of all, I want to welcome you to the show, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that know who you are, but why don't you tell us who you are and why, and not necessarily your pedigree. We understand all that, but what makes Shaheewa Gillen Shaheewa Gillen?
Well, without going into too deep, well, first, thanks for having me. Happy to be here. What makes me me? I just think the passion. I think from the time I was young, I knew that I was here for a purpose, and I think we all have to find that purpose. And I believe that I found that. I started working off with the federal government, but quickly found that some of our businesses were having some difficulty. Did some research, saw that our children, 38% of Black children were living in poverty in Broward County, and kind of tied that to the lack of opportunity, lack of economic opportunity for their
Sure.
parents and family members. Our areas were blighted, et cetera. And so I figured that there was something that needed to be done, and we didn't have a chamber. So kind of started that. And I feel like I found my passion with regard to making sure our businesses are ready, but also advocating on behalf of our businesses.
We're
So
going to
that's
talk
kind of my
about that a little bit, though. I mean, you're an attorney by trade. You spent 2 decades
yeah,
in federal litigation. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah,
that's a big chunk of your
true.
life. And then you pivoted to be an advocate for Black businesses and to launch the Black Chamber. So I know that you start talking about that, but let's really kind of drill down into that a little bit. I mean, what made you pivot? What were really the catalyst and what were the lightning rods?
I think if I'm going to be honest, it really did start younger when I was thinking to myself,
Okay.
what will I do when I get older? And literally at age 11, I said I wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor, and settled on being a lawyer because I was always the one sticking up for the kids in class. I didn't like to see anybody get
I
bullied.
bet you would argue with your parents, man. You talk about a debater. I'm sure you were a pretty good
Well,
debater.
look, hold on now. I grew up old school, so we knew not to argue with parents. I might have been arguing in my mind, right? But I was always the one kind of sticking up for kids. I always felt like I didn't want to see anybody helpless and voiceless. And I think that's really, to be honest, where it started. Not wanting to see anybody voiceless and kind of being left out. And kind of knew at age 11 I wanted to be a lawyer, and then kind of just knew that meant generally getting good grades. And so I knew I was going to go to college. I went to Florida State for undergrad. So it's funny, wanted to be a lawyer, but didn't like speaking in public, and knew that was going to
Wow.
be, oh
Wow.
yeah.
Gosh, my goodness.
Can you
That's a big
imagine?
transformation for you.
Yeah, well, I forced myself to, I took a speech class, which was good. We got to research speeches, analyze them, and talk about them in front of class in undergrad. So I kind of forced myself to do the things I didn't like. And then obviously in law school, I forced myself to take a litigations course that forced us to watch. Right. So after you kind of do your interrogation,
Right, right.
interrogatories, you get to watch yourself on tape afterwards to critique yourself. And so,
That's painful sometimes, right?
oh my God. So sometimes you're like a superstar. And then we had judges that were there to kind of give
Uh,
us pointers. So it was funny. So sometimes you're a rock star, and then other days you just bomb it. But that's just what it was. It's kind of like trial and error, Trial and error. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny. I was on a debate team in college, and
Oh, nice.
we did this pretty much the same thing. Is that
Nice.
sometimes, hey man, you would put a cape on, right? And then
Yeah.
sometimes it was just like you were just like tripping over your tongue.
Yeah.
But you learn from that, right? You learn from that, and
Absolutely.
you almost always got better. Now, I got to tell you that I'm always inspired by people who create something from nothing, right? I'm in awe of folks that do that. I believe that is just the way things organically happen.
Mhm.
The chamber has 560 members and serves almost 12,000 businesses. What are you most proud of about that growth and the fact that you've created that something from nothing?
I'll say this, Jay. I'm most proud of the fact that folks have entrusted the chamber to say this is a safe place for them. This is a place that they know they can go to get help, support, and direction. When I first started the chamber, I had a couple of lunch meetings to just talk to some folks that have been around for a while, some lawyers that I knew. And they asked me what they thought my biggest obstacle would be. And I said, well, that's trust, because I knew from the beginning, Black people part with their money. It's like, hold on, what am I getting? And when you talk about a chamber, you don't get you're not getting something in exchange. Like you pay me something, you get a product in your hand. It's an investment in your business. And so getting our folks to understand that, I knew it would be difficult, but I understood once they understood that, and we kind of executed on the proposition of the value of creating a community that could support not only their business, but they could see the bigger picture of us going an ecosystem together, right? And then working together, right? So you'd meet folks you could partner with and grow with that they'd love it. And they'd come back and, I wouldn't have to drag dues out of them because they'd see the benefit. So I knew that would be an obstacle, but I'm proud to say that, people believe. And a lot of times our members are the biggest ambassadors. They talk about the chamber, they're emailing me, introducing me to folks that should join. So that's been my proudest moment, the growth and that trust. I'll also say just our aggressiveness in going after funds. So being able to get a $100,000 grant from Truist was really big. That was our really first big grant that we then were able to turn around and utilize small businesses that are in the chamber to pay them to help small Black businesses.
Absolutely.
So that was awesome.
The whole incubation thing I watched that whole incubation thing. It was huge. Absolutely huge.
Yeah. So it was wonderful that we were able to kind of, turn around and support our businesses in that way, in two ways, through the education portion, but then paying them to provide those services, because contrary to popular belief or what others may believe, our businesses don't want handouts. They have the skills. They want to be paid. They want to be paid what they're worth to be able to help people and provide the skills and services that they're in business to provide. So that was one of our my proudest moments. Then lastly, I'll say we did win a Women's Business Center, which was really a proud moment. Thank you. We went to DC with a group of other chambers from 5 other states to understand the process and also to meet staff, the experts, to find out what we could do better to get federal funding. Went to DC for 3 years, and the summer of 24 applied for 4 different federal grants. And we were able to find out in January of 2025 that we won a Women's Business Center. So it was good to know that.
I gotta tell you, that's huge.
Yeah,
that's
it was huge.
You know what? We got to go. We're going to be right back and gotta take this commercial break. But we're going to come back and we're going to drill down into that as well as some of the other things that you're doing on the Hill. But hey, stay tuned, guys. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
February 19th to the 22nd. Join your favorite culinary stars at the Food Network South Beach Wine and Food Festival.
It's going to be amazing.
Don't miss out on the gastronomic extravaganza that's making waves.
If you haven't been, you are missing it.
Take part in masterclasses, tastings, exclusive events, and so much more. Proceeds benefit educational programs and scholarships at Florida International University.
And buy your tickets early because they're going to go quick.
Get your tickets now at SoBWFF.org.
To learn more about what we do, to get involved in our mission to help all of Broward's children learn, grow, and thrive, or to find a program or service for your children, visit us at cscbroward.org. The Children's Services Council of Broward County. Our focus is our children.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman & Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family. Our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters. Because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. Demesman & Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
Perez Art Museum Miami celebrates the 13th anniversary of Art and Soul, an unforgettable night supporting the PAM Fund for Black Art. February 7th, 2026 at Perez Art Museum Miami, honoring cultural pioneer Fab Five Freddy. Cocktails and a curated dinner by Chef Raheem Seeley, an inspiring program led by MC Neki Mohan. Music by Deep Fried Funk and DJ Aya, all in support of Black art. Visit pam.org/ArtSoul 2026 to purchase tickets.
We're back with Shaheewa Garrett Gielan. Shaheewa, there's some other things that I really want to talk to you about that you start talking about just before the break. And a lot of those about your vision for legislation and some of the things that you're doing in order to build that ecosystem that you talked about before. So first of all, let's talk about the Black Chambers Day on the Hill. I mean, what are some of the key goals that you have for that? And walk us through what your vision is.
Absolutely. When I first started the Broward County Black Chamber of Commerce, I was longing for, an organization that could provide that guidance and that camaraderie and that focus that would bring together other chambers. We didn't have that in Florida. So I started the Florida Association of Black Chambers and I bring together about 15 or so Black chambers from around the state to Tallahassee each year. And our first year was in 2022, and I call it Black Chamber Day. So we would have our own day to interact with our elected officials, to talk to them about our issues and concerns in our communities, so that they would be aware of those issues and concerns while they were passing bills and considering bills for that year, that in essence would go into effect every July 1st after their 60-day session in Tallahassee.
Sure.
And so my focus has always been for us to be very vocal about what's happening in our communities, because quite frankly, nobody's telling them. We have the expertise. We know our businesses, our chambers are on the ground, we're grassroots. So we have to be that voice. Once again, it goes back to advocacy. We have to be that voice. Secondly, we were not getting funding. In my research in starting my chamber, the Broward County Black Chamber, I looked up the fact that if any of us were getting any type of appropriation from the state, no Black chamber was. But there was
not one.
Not one.
And this is 3 years ago. We're talking about 3 years ago, right?
Correct. 2022. So this is 4 years. So no Black chamber had ever received that. So what we then did, I made a goal for us to go after appropriations, because I did see at the time that there was a Hispanic organization that got $1.8 million. And I said, well, they were funded and clearly their business community has needs, but we do also. So that was another key component of us coming together to go to Tallahassee, the advocacy component, so we could bring our concerns to Tallahassee, but also to say we have underfunded organizations, our neighborhoods and other business districts lack investment, and we're going to go after those funds and create programs to bring back those dollars from Tallahassee. So that was another major component. And then just us kind of learning from each other, understanding the trends and what's going on, I think is very critical. So as a part of the programming, I routinely will bring in the Office of Supplier. Well, it's no longer Supplier Diversity, Supplier Development now in the state.
Right.
I'm bringing the
we had to pivot. We had to pivot.
That's what they call it now. The State Purchasing Organization, Florida Commerce, their secretary. I'm bringing in folks because Florida Commerce, that's the money department for businesses.
Right.
So it's key that we understand the programs they have. It's key that our presidents also have those relationships so they can bring those programs back to their different locations. So the education component is something you're always going to hear me talk about, Jay. Yeah. So
well, let me ask you this. Now, if you were a person on the outside in looking in, right? And if you only looked at the pictures from your journey, right? The pictures of your journey from the downhill, you'll see, 3 or 4 people the first year. Then all of a sudden you got 15, 20 people. And then now you have, the group of people that you have that actually attend that thing now. You obviously are gaining momentum. Why? Why do you think so?
Well, Jay, if we look around and we consider the times that we're in, we know that when Black people are under attack, that we come together. So I think that's the first thing. When there's nowhere else to go, our folks look to each other to say, how can I?
Internal. We
Yep.
internal.
How can we get through this together? But I think more importantly, folks see, so in the 22, 23, 24, as we went up to Tallahassee, folks started to understand the need. I knew that I'd have to educate my chamber presidents on why it was important to go, so they could see that their role was so much bigger and wider than running a local chamber. Like, you're a leader in your area. You're an expert with regard to what's going on with your Black businesses and your Black community. And your elected officials need to hear from you. If we're absent, then we can't expect our needs to be met. And so a part of that process was getting folks to understand that they have a larger and bigger role. I think they get that now. They understand that they don't just keep their head down locally, but you are a leader. So you need to go to Tallahassee and be heard. I think also it's getting our business owners to understand that they're leaders too. They're innovating, they're hiring folks, they interface with laws, city, county, and state each day to run their businesses. And therefore, they have a voice too. And I think over the years, we've gotten folks to understand, I do have a voice. I know what's going on. I know what's going on with my business, and it's happening with other business owners. Therefore, I need to tell my story. And that's what we do. I go in, I kind of make the introductions, but then I have individual business owners and our presidents speak to the specific issues that they're going through or experiencing.
I think that we can no longer afford to live in these silos that we've created for ourselves, right?
Yes.
And I think you make a very good point. Now, when things are more difficult, we tend to lean on each other, but we have to come out of those silos too. Now, we have about 3 minutes before we go to our next break. I want to ask you a question that I'm sure you ask all the time, and it's about access to capital, right? The first thing somebody does probably joins the chamber and asks you, hey, look, I need some money, right?
Right.
Tell me a little, before we go to our next break, tell me a little bit about that. How are you helping Black business owners navigate and overcome access to capital?
I think first and foremost, Jay, for the folks who are ready, right? They have all their documentation, they're ready to go. Chambers are key for relationships. Mm-hmm. You may walk into a bank that you have an account in as an individual business owner, and they'll say, well, you don't really have a relationship with us. You kind of just have an account. And not enough money, et cetera, and you may not get that loan. With chambers, you walk into an ecosystem. We've created an ecosystem with multiple relationships. So it's not just one bank. So here in Broward, we have relationships with at least 5 different banks, CDFIs, all kinds of different types of entities, MDIs, so that you have access to a variety of options. It's not just one way. So you can get that line of credit or that loan, or the dollars you need to finance your purchase orders or a new government contract.
Or the training. Well,
that's what I was going to next. For the people
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, lead me. Or for the people who aren't ready, right? Then you do have that training to say, we understand you need the money, but this is what you need to do. These are the steps. You need to have, your financial statements in order. A lot of our businesses don't have that. They don't have a CPA. They don't have a QuickBooks expert or anybody working with them. So at the chamber, when we go after those dollars that I mentioned earlier, we're actually, once again, paying Black businesses to help Black businesses. So we have a QuickBooks expert that will provide training for folks. We've paid for QuickBooks subscriptions ourselves for a year for our members, so that they now understand the importance of not only having those financial statements, but also having the projections, being able to read and understand your business and know the ebbs and flows, which is critical. Every business owner has to know their numbers.
It is life. It's the life or death, right?
Absolutely.
It is absolutely life or death. If you cannot tell your story through the numbers,
there you go, Jay.
You cannot scale your business.
Absolutely.
I don't care who you are and what you're selling. You have to be able to tell your story through your business. Now we're going to take another commercial break in a couple seconds just to pay the bills. But when we come back, I really want to kind of drill down into your vision, right? What is your vision? Anyway, more with Shaheewa Gillen coming up. Stay with us. You don't want to miss this.
February 19th to the 22nd. Join your favorite culinary stars at the Food Network South Beach Wine and Food Festival.
It's going to be amazing.
Don't miss out on the gastronomic extravaganza that's making waves.
If you haven't been, you are missing it.
Take part in masterclasses, tastings, exclusive events, and so much more. Proceeds benefit educational programs and scholarships at Florida International University.
And buy your tickets early because they're going to go quick.
Get your tickets now at SoBWFF.org.
To learn more about what we do, to get involved in our mission to help all of Broward's children learn, grow, and thrive, or to find a program or service for your children, visit us at cscbroward.org. The Children's Services Council of Broward County. Our focus is our children.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman and Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family. Our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters. Because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. Demesman and Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
Perez Art Museum Miami celebrates the 13th anniversary of Art and Soul, an unforgettable night supporting the PAM Fund for Black Art. February 7, 2026 at Perez Art Museum Miami, honoring cultural pioneer Fab Five Freddy. Cocktails and a curated dinner by Chef Raheem Sealy, an inspiring program led by MC Neki Mohan. Music by Deep Fried Funk and DJ Aya, all in support of Black art. Visit pam.org/ArtSoul2026 to purchase tickets.
Welcome back, and we are with Shaheewa Gillen with the Black Chamber. Shaheewa, let's talk a little bit about your vision for the next 5 years. You know what people always ask you, say, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Because my question to you is, what's your vision for Florida's Black business ecosystem in the next 5 years?
Well, clearly, I want our system to grow and continue to expand.
Sure,
and so
absolutely.
that means that we're going to have to focus on the advocacy. It's going to be most important. Currently, according to the SBA statistics, we have about 380,000 Black-owned businesses in the state of Florida. However, 351,000, thereabouts, are solopreneurs. They've started a business, but created the business and a job for themselves and no one else. So we have to start focusing on growth. How do we expand the capacities of those businesses? We also have to have smart conversations around what types of businesses we're starting, right? Are those the businesses that lead to that exponential growth and capacity build? So if you're always starting businesses in, the low revenue generating businesses or industries, then you are going to struggle a bit more. Instead of maybe taking a look at the landscape, instead of just saying, I'm good at this, let me start this business, but taking a look at the landscape of what's needed, what your county is investing in, or what the state is investing in.
Absolutely.
And you can tap into those dollars and those expanding and emerging industries to now have a growth industry that you can start a business in. So I think we need to start talking a little bit more about that, commercializing patents in our companies, adding tech to our companies.
Are you driving people in that direction?
Yes, we've had sessions on that. We will continue to. In fact, at Black Chamber Day, which is on February 2nd and the 3rd in Tallahassee.
When is that again? When is it again?
February 2nd and 3rd in Tallahassee.
Gotcha.
I'm actually going to have a former Department of Defense and Department of Energy employee and engineer that has his own business working in AI and data centers. And he specializes in talking about commercializing patents. And that's something we don't talk enough about, or just infusing tech into our business and how that can be a growth driver and possibly create a product that we sell separate from the business, although it would be related. So for me, it's about, how do we get our companies thinking about those growth industries on the front end? We have to start doing some, studies and education in that way. Also, trade. We kind of think of the United States as the biggest market, and that's it. And we're happy to play in this pool, but there's a whole world out there. And the market outside the United States is bigger.
Right.
And so my push and my goal, I've been saying this for the last 2 years with my chamber presidents, we're going outside the United States and we are going to expand. We're going to push our small businesses outside. There are dollars there. And so you're going to see some programming from the state chamber with regard to trade, education, connecting folks to some of the consul generals and other folks who are already doing trade missions. We're planning one for June. So stay tuned because there's too much. Our brothers and sisters are calling.
I got to tell you,
we are not answering the call. We are not answering the call.
I'm personally very interested in that. We're the gateway to the Caribbean. I'm very, very interested in that as well. Unfortunately, you know how it always happens. We're running out of time, but I really, really, really want to thank you. And you have an open door. We have an open door policy for you, Shaheewa. Whenever you have something to talk about, please come back to the show. And I want to ask people to follow the work of the Broward Black Chamber of Commerce and the Florida Association of Black Chambers, and make sure you tap into all of the things that they have going on, especially their day on the Hill. And Shaheewa, my friend, thank you for being on the show. We're going to have to give you a jacket like they do on Saturday Night Live. We've been on here 3 or 4 times. But thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. This is the Business of Black Business. My name is Jay Reynolds, and I always say that if it is to be, it's up to me. Thanks, Legacy. Continued success.